Okay, so welcome to another episode of Kelly's Reality Podcast. Today, I am super excited to be chatting with and getting to know Lakeya Nicholson. She is the founder and CEO of Masterpiece Candles, and we have known each other online for a little bit of time, and I'm really excited, and thank you for joining me to talk and get to know a little bit more about you and your company.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so tell us a little bit about your business, what you do, and also why candles?
Wow, great question. So the candles came about, I think it was like the second year of my marriage. My husband and I were going through a lot of financial issues, and candles was like a luxury. So I had to kind of let it go, but I didn't want to give up my love for them and the smells and brightening up our home. So I just kind of learned how to make them myself. So that's where the candles came in from. I always had a love for candles since I was a little girl. But the candle is just kind of like a vehicle I use to get my message across. So if tomorrow I didn't do candles anymore, I will still have my message. So that's the foundation of my company. I just use it to kind of bring my message of hope and the things that I've learned throughout my years to try to hopefully bring that light to other people.
I love that. So your message is, like you said, hope, light, positivity. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. Self-love, knowing who you are and being bold and just, who God created you to be.
I love that. Being true to yourself. And I also love too that when you said, if tomorrow candles disappeared, I would do something else. It's just a vessel for you to spread that message of love. And that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Great. And two, like you said, the candles can be a luxury for some people, financial aspect of it too. And is your goal to make something, a product that's really good and nice smelling, but also affordable as well?
Of course. And I also give a lot of things away for free. So it's not for me really about the money. I just want to make sure that people can hear what they need to hear so they can go through life feeling good about themselves. So I want to make it affordable, but I'll also make it available to those who can't even afford to pay the cost of my candle.
Wow, I love that. So it really isn't about the finances, the commerce. It's truly about message, love, and giving back to people. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love people more than I love candles. So
that's amazing. Great. And I think, did you say you just got your first wholesale order recently as well?
I did. Someone in my local area wanted to partner with my husband and I, because my husband, he's my support system in all of this. And he ordered a large sum of candles, and he wanted to keep my message and everything, but he just wanted to sell it in his own way and in his own wherever he lives in his area. So he partnered with us and ordered a large amount of candles, and he's selling them not with his own label, with my label and message and everything.
Great. That must be such a good feeling, like someone else gets it. They get my passion and want to help me in this. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, were you nervous to become a business owner? Was it, because it's a big step to start something and have a product and to sell. How did you feel about taking that step to become an owner?
I was very scared. Very nervous about it because I had no clue about business. I don't know anything about keeping books. I don't know anything really about marketing and sales and pitching. And I'm just very much of an introverted person. And so when I felt the push, am I getting dark?
It looks like a light went out a little bit. I'm not sure.
I don't know what happened. Is it okay to proceed though?
Yeah, you're okay. I don't know what happened, but I can still hear you.
I don't know. Okay, so I forgot what I was saying. Oh yes, so I was afraid. It all overwhelmed me. But for me, it was like either I stay here and be comfortable, or I embrace this feeling of being uncomfortable and being afraid, but doing this thing that's in my heart anyway.
I love that.
So I just decided to do it anyway. I'm still learning. I still don't have it all perfected. I still make a lot of mistakes, but at the same time, it's all a part of growth and learning. And I just take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
But it was really scary. I didn't want the responsibility. I didn't want it all to fall on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I had to take a risk, and I'm glad that I did. I still wake up every day afraid because I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to continue to get sales or orders, or if people are going to continue to embrace it. But I just wake up every day and do the best I can. And so far, it's been working out.
Yeah. And I love it. I love that you said, do the best you can. That's often what I will tell my clients in my therapy practice.
Yeah.
So many of us want to be perfect and we set that bar so high, but I love that you're like, hey, I'm doing the best I can and that's good enough. And I love that. That's what I try to kind of practice and preach myself.
Yes.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And also too, you mentioned being uncomfortable. And a lot of people, I say the same thing, like it's going to be uncomfortable to change. That's why everything stays the same. It would, if it was easy to do something, it wouldn't help you grow. It wouldn't change you. So it's almost always uncomfortable or strange feeling, but you have to just commit to, okay, I'm going to be uncomfortable. This is going to be scary. It's going to be unknown. I'm going to do it anyway because I want to try this and to change.
Yes. Yeah. And grow. You have to grow.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And then I just turned 40 in March. And so I said to myself,
Happy birthday.
Thank you. But I said to myself, if not now, when?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't keep wasting time or having things in my heart and not pursuing those things. So all of that played a part into me just launching. And I didn't have a plan. I just kind of
You just did it.
That's
great. And not so many people live their lives and they get to the end of it and they say, gosh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. But that's what I say. Just feel the fear and do it anyway. And, you know, the worst case that happens is that you fail and it wasn't lost. You learn from your failures. You learn from your mistakes and you grow as a person. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, switching gears a little bit, I wouldn't be a good therapist unless we talked a little bit about mental health. And I know you are pretty open, especially on social media, talking about your own experiences with counseling, with mental health. I know you make a donation to one of the biggest, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, every quarter. So what does mental wellness mean to you?
It means a lot. Because I think I was maybe about 10 years ago. I think from years of just holding my feelings and my emotions in, I had a literal, like a mental breakdown. I didn't know what it was. I just know that I couldn't stop shaking and my muscles wouldn't stop twitching. And I didn't know what was going on. And I had to take myself to the emergency room. And after a battery of tests, everything came back clear. And they said it was just, you know, like an anxiety. I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. And from there, I had to start on medication because I couldn't get a grip on it myself. And growing up, and just even in the African-American community, you're told to hold it in, be strong. Don't tell nobody what you're going through. You'll get through it. But I just learned as I got older that that's not true. Sometimes you just can't get over it by yourself. And I needed help. And I found that in the form of medication on and off throughout my life, and counseling, prayer, being around great people, learning and memorizing scripture that told me that I didn't have to worry, that I didn't have to be afraid. And all those things combined helped me to get better. I'm not on medication at the moment, but if I ever need it again, I will. I'm not in counseling at the moment, but if I ever need it, I will go back. But it's all about just knowing that it's okay. If you're not feeling okay, if you're sad, if the sadness won't pass, and it's okay to get help. It's okay to tell someone what you're going through because you don't have to walk through it alone. The suicide rates are skyrocket high, I believe, because people are suffering in silence. And the stigma still exists. You know, people are still ashamed. And we shouldn't feel that way. It's okay if you don't feel okay.
Yes. And I love it. And it comes from people like you sharing your stories and being so open, like you said, in your community and in many others. It's just, you know, you deal with that on your own. We don't talk about this. And I agree. I think keeping things in, and a lot of people get so confused about what counseling is. They think it's just laying on a couch, talking to some old dude. I'm like, it's literally like talking to a friend, but who's not going to unload all their problems on you, or they're not going to judge you. They're not biased. They don't know the other person or situation you're talking about. I'm like, you walk out of therapy, most of the time you feel so much lighter.
Yes.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah, you have to unload and unpack your emotions and your feelings and your situations and things that in life that we feel we've gotten over. But we didn't get over it because we never really dealt with it.
Right. Yep.
You're just told to keep it moving, keep it moving.
Yep.
But you have to stop. You have to deal with those things and admit the hurt so you can get healed.
Of course. Yeah, and you're right. We're told to just keep it moving, keep it moving. And then sometimes, like you had experienced, your body stops you. Your body won't let you. Your brain will finally get to that point where you snap and it's like, I'm not going to let you move forward. We have to deal with this. And that happens so much, that mind-body connection that I see. It is very common. I have a lot of clients who literally think they're dying or having a heart attack. They'll go to the ER, everything's clear. And yeah, I do think our body has a way of saying, like, stop, slow down. We are going to talk about this, whether you like it or not. And yeah, and like you said, the medication, I'm a huge advocate when it's needed. I think it can change lives. The talk therapy, both together or separately too, it's amazing.
Yeah, it really, really helps. It really helps.
Yeah. And what do you think, why do you think there is such a huge stigma about, you know, a lot of people, I know personally, I've had some family and friends unfollow my social media account because I do talk about mental health. So I wonder, what do you think, how can we get more people to be comfortable, even if they don't want to share their own personal details? Why do you think there's such a stigma, and how can we help fix that?
I don't know why there's such a stigma. The only thing that I can think of that can help fix it is people like you and I and others who will be bold enough and honest enough to speak on the issue.
Yeah.
And I think the more people who are suffering in silence hear others speak on the issue can make them say, hey, if they can talk about it, if they're not ashamed of it, then I don't have to be either. So if they can admit they're struggling, then I can admit I'm struggling too. Sometimes you just need that person to be honest enough to say, I'm struggling. And it helps other people admit they're struggling as well. But why the stigma exists, I'm not sure.
Yeah. It might just be so generational that, you know, again, it's passed down like, hey, I dealt with my own stuff. I didn't talk to anyone. You need to just, and I think a lot of it too is families are worried that it's a reflection on them. You know, like, oh, did I do something wrong raising my kids? Did she have something wrong with her? And they can't acknowledge that or admit that. And a lot of times it doesn't have to do with them, but there's that ego piece of it and so many different things, I suppose.
And I think too, another piece of that, as far as generations and these things that keep flowing through the generations without someone stepping up to stop it, I think that is kept quiet because it's kind of like, now you're bringing my stuff into the light.
Yes.
And I don't want you to bring my stuff. Don't talk about my stuff. Sometimes my stuff is because of your stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
You know? So, yeah, I think that too is that other people don't want their stuff exposed. So they kind of want to keep you quiet.
For sure. And I think it's such a spectrum too, because there's people like you and I'm very comfortable talking publicly about mental health, and I love that you're willing to share. And then I think I have to just tell people, it's okay if you don't want to share your story. You don't have to say, I have anxiety or I have depression or I have, you know, something. You know, you don't have to share it with the world, but I definitely encourage people to share it with someone, whether it's, you know, a psychiatrist, a counselor, a minister, a priest, whoever it is that you feel comfortable with talking about that stuff. And you know, with professionals, what you say in that room doesn't leave. They don't judge you. It's not like they can run and tell your family or your kids or the social media, everyone you know. So that's true. Like, you don't have to shout it from some people. And I love the people who are so open or like, yes, I'm struggling with this. This has been my journey. And that's awesome too. But other people, they don't have to even say it or acknowledge it. But I would hope that they, even in private, can acknowledge it to someone.
Yeah. Even just to themselves.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Just admitting like, okay, yeah, I have been really worried lately, or I've been kind of down. I don't like doing things that I used to. And yeah, that first step in just acknowledging it.
Yeah. But I think now is like the best time to acknowledge the struggle, because we're living in overwhelming times.
Yep.
And the sad part is that people are still ashamed to say that they're struggling or feel overwhelmed or worried or anxiety, but it's to be expected. Look at the times that we're living in. You know, it's okay. It's okay to struggle. We all do.
Yep. Yep. And that's, I think, huge too, because so much of what you see on social media, everyone looks like their lives are perfect. They all have it together. No one has a bad hair day or, feels fat in their jeans. It's like, oh my gosh. And you start comparing yourself to what you see online. And like you said, it's that pressure.
Yes.
And no one can live up to that. Not even the people posting that live up to it. So it's like,
Yeah.
come on. So hard. Now, I know you've also mentioned on social media that you have had experiences growing up with being bullied. Now, what kind of you've obviously made it through and kind of worked through that. What advice would you have for someone who's being bullied now, whether it's a younger kid or even someone our age? How do you deal with bullies and come out the other side?
For me, I think the worst of it happened for me in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the only thing I knew to do was hide.
Mm-hmm.
I was too afraid to let anybody know I was getting picked on. I was too afraid to let anyone know that I was afraid to go to school. Mm-hmm. So I made up lies about being sick and just different things because I was so embarrassed that I was being picked on. So the only thing that I can say to any young person that's being bullied or, experiencing anything like that is to tell someone. Mm-hmm. To tell someone. Sometimes it takes for you to speak up for yourself, whether if it's happening in school, to your principal, to your parent, or whoever you feel comfortable talking to, just to let them know what's going on. Sometimes it's a matter of getting to the other parent of the child that's bullying you, or just having a talk or a conversation. A lot of times can bring relief, but I just would say, speak up. Let someone know. And don't hold it in.
Yeah.
Because I just hid. I stayed in. I hid. I hid myself to the point where I didn't know who I was, because it was like, okay, when I'm myself, nobody likes me. When I try to be like them, they still don't like me. So I was confused. I didn't know who to be. And so I would just, don't suffer the way that I did. Just tell someone. Tell someone what you're going through.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. For me, I had a similar experience in middle school. Luckily, I was able to go to the school counselor. We kind of had a sit down with the other girl, and it never happened again. So I totally agree with you. Tell someone, teacher, principal. I wonder too, so coming out the other side now too, what if it's someone that's our age? I know even bullying, negative attacks, negative comments, our age. Like, how would you as a 40-year-old woman now deal with someone who's talking bad or negative about you? How are you different than middle school?
So now in my life, anytime I speak of my experience, I always have to speak of my faith, and it's not a pressure on anyone else. We all have our own journey, but for me and my journey, the only thing that got me through was my relationship with God. I had to come to a point in my life, and everybody can find it their own way, but for me, I had gotten to a point in my life, I think it was about 7 years ago, and I finally figured out like the way that I was doing life wasn't working. I had so many broken relationships. A lot of it had to do with a lot of my own insecurities because of the things that I didn't deal with from my childhood. And so I had to get to a place where I had to say, okay, where do I go from here? Because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what to do. I was clueless. And so I had to ask God and say, where do I go from here? And so I went on this journey of learning how God sees me. So once I learned that I was loved unconditionally, no matter what I did, that I was adored, that I didn't have to do anything to earn this love or this adoration. And all my candles have these names. This is not something I pulled from somewhere else. All my candles have a name, and the names are what I learned throughout that journey of finding out who I was. So I found out I was royalty. I found out that I had worth. I found out that I was adored. I found out that I was free to be me. And once that thing got from my head to my heart, if you want to call it meditating, if you want to call it positive affirmations and speaking these things over yourself, that's what I did. And once it got from here to my heart, is when everything changed for me. And that's how now, when I get negative comments, because it still happens today, but it just flows off of me, because it's like, that's not who I am. I already know who I am.
Yes.
Now, if you told me that when I was 18, I would have believed you.
Yep.
But now that I've gone through my journey of finding out who I am, and I know that thing without a shadow of a doubt that you can't take it away, it just doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
So if people have to find out words of encouragement for them and speak it over themselves and keep doing it every day to that think it from the head to the heart, I think that makes all the difference in the world. But for me, it was finding out who God says I am and allowing that to take precedence over anything else that was said to me or about me.
Oh, I love that. Almost like one of my other guests I interviewed said that she feels like her self-love is almost like a raincoat, and that nothing can, you can storm on this raincoat, but she knows who she is inside, and everything else just kind of rolls off. It sounds kind of similar to you, like you know who you are, you love yourself, you accept yourself, your faith helps you so much, and you kind of have that raincoat on too, where it's like, bring on the storms. You can say what you want about me, but I know who I am and I love who I am, and and maybe just praying for that person or sending good vibes or whatever it is kind of like, okay, I'm gonna think about you and send you some positivity because you need it in your life.
Yeah, I think too, when we realize that happy, content people don't go around hurting other people.
Yeah.
So if you find someone who's just saying negative things to you, it's because they're hurting.
Yeah.
Because only people that are hurting can hurt other people.
Yeah.
Or will want to hurt other people.
Right.
So a lot of times the issue doesn't even lie with you, it's with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
So yeah, that's the only advice that I could give on that. Hopefully it made sense.
Yeah, I think it totally does. And that's what, a lot of people say, like beauty and confidence comes from within. And I totally, look, I'm a fan of hair, makeup, clothes. I love all that stuff. I think external stuff can definitely give you a boost of confidence, but you have to know, like you said, who you are and who you are at the core. And once you figure that out and you're at peace with that, you're so strong that nothing else can penetrate. Of course, stuff still hurts. You still are human. You deal with things, but it's that inner just kind of knowing, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
And feeling that.
Yeah. I think we all get the initial sting.
Of course.
It's like, listen, okay, we're not going there.
Yep.
We've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but it's amazing how different we all are. Like I used to wear makeup and stilettos and all these things because of my insecurity. It was kind of like, okay, I need something to make me feel like something. But now it's kind of like when I came into my own, it was like those things I just didn't have a desire to do anymore. Like I'm fine in my flip-flops.
Yep.
I'm fine in my t-shirt. I'm fine, when my hair is done, when my hair ain't done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you get a level of freedom.
Yep.
And so, yeah, but it's amazing how we're all different. Some people are able to do those things, they just like it.
Yeah.
And, it's just amazing how different we all are. And it's just a beautiful thing.
Yes. Yeah. And embracing those differences, especially now.
Yes.
Now you are, I believe you have 3 boys in your home. Is that what I read?
We have 3 boys together, but it's only one that lives with us.
Okay. So you have experience with lots of boys and you're a mother. And you're such a positive person, on social media, in real life, you quote, you believe in good. You believe in positivity. And especially as a woman of color and a mother, what is giving you hope, especially, recently now with everything going on, what gives you hope for yourself, for your community, and also for the next generation?
To be honest with you, completely honest, right now, I don't have hope. I don't know what it's going to look like tomorrow or next week. I see the protest and participated in all those things, but it's still hard. It's still hard to see if anything is going to change because I'm not sure, because it's still daily having the same things happen, no matter how much, we try to change people's minds. I don't know what's going to happen. And I fear for, my son and my husband. I have brothers, and it's just hard. And I wish that I could help someone else have hope, but right now I don't even really have it myself.
Yep.
I trust God and I give it to him, but nothing has really changed for me in how I feel about what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. kind of just waiting and seeing what happens and sitting with that. And so if it's not a word of hope right now, what would a word you'd use about how you feel right now about everything? If it's, again, not hope, if it's just kind of
right now, if I can see anything, hopefully I'll get to the point of hope. But right now, I do maybe see a little spark of potential. Mm-hmm. If that is the correct answer, I'm not sure. But I saw a man on TV. It was an African-American man, and he said that back in the 60s and 70s and things during the civil rights movement, it was a whole lot of African-Americans. They were the only ones that were protesting. Mm-hmm. But now you see protests today with people of every culture, every ethnicity, yep, every race coming together, fighting for, Black lives, all lives. And I think that in that we do see some potential of change. Mm-hmm. So there is a glimmer of a spark of something there. I just don't know what it is yet, but I do see potential. Yep. And I'm not saying that I don't think anything is going to change, but there is something there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think as humans, even like you said, that tiniest glimmer of potential, mm-hmm, and I hope that ignites into a huge spark and that there is change. But even if there's the tiniest bit of potential, then hopefully, I've even posted, I went into the field because I believe in the power of change. I believe that people can learn and grow. And I think a lot of people share your sentiment. It's like, okay, I want to be hopeful, mm-hmm, but, for whatever reason, I'm almost more realistic at this point, I suppose, but yeah, I love that you said there's even the tiniest glimmer of potential. And you're right. I see so many people coming together, and hopefully this is that potential. I'm with you. Hopefully.
Yeah. It's beautiful to watch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's sad, but it's still beautiful because you see a change in unity, mm-hmm, and people coming together that hasn't happened before.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep that. We'll use that positivity potential. We'll just, keep it in prayers, keep it in thoughts, and we see some actions too, because I think a lot of times, whether it's education about social injustices or anything else, you can say you want to do things. I see it in my practice a lot. People oftentimes will come in and say, oh, I want to be different. I want to change, but you really have to get uncomfortable and put in the effort. And mm-hmm, I'm hoping that we as a global society can put in the effort, get uncomfortable, and make the changes that are so needed right now.
I hope so.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, all right. So we are almost out of time for this segment, but one last question that I had for you is, your company is called Masterpiece Candles. So what is a masterpiece to you? Where did that name kind of come from?
It came from two places. So I always use Ephesians 2:10, which is a Bible scripture that talks about we are God's masterpiece, created by God to do great things.
Okay.
And so I just always believed in my heart that a lot of people don't believe they were created to do great things, but we all are.
Yeah.
We're all created to do different things, but all great things that could bring a lot of good into our world. And I also got it from a song by Jessie J called Masterpiece.
Okay.
And so it was those two things combined, because at first my company was going to be called Flourish.
Okay.
And then one day it changed to the Masterpiece because it was like the confirmation of the song I listened to every morning and then the scriptures. So a masterpiece is something that has been created to do great things in this world. To do good things. We were put together by God, all individually with special gifts and talents, and we all have something wonderful to offer to the world. Yeah. And so that's the whole idea behind Masterpiece, is to know that you're created with greatness on the inside of you, with so many great gifts and talents, and to use them to bring good into this world.
Yes. And the world needs more good right now. And two, I love that, you mentioned you're fine just the way you are. A lot of times people are so wanting to change or feeling not good enough. And you're just saying, no, you're good. You are good the way you are. You can bring good into the world. You can bring change just by being you. And it's such a nice, just to even sit with that and to feel like, okay, I'm good enough. I got this. I'm I don't have to change who I am unless I want to. But I can be the change in the world, and I can do great things. And I think we need to focus just more on beauty and love and putting good out there. There's so much negativity. I mean, all you have to do is scroll through Facebook or turn on the news, and there's so much negativity. But I love that your mission is like, no, you're love, you're beautiful, you're a masterpiece.
Yes.
And we're all masterpieces, and we can all kind of join together and put beautiful things out into the world. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Thank
nice.
you.
This was so great. It's almost like I got a little motivational speech from you today. It makes me feel renewed. Like, okay, yeah, we are good enough. And I think we all need to hear that. Like, we are good enough how we are. And it's okay. You know, even if you don't love yourself, you can learn to, like you said, many years of bullying. It's different for everyone. It's therapy. It's faith. It's talking to people. It's growing through mistakes and just getting to that point. And hopefully everyone can get to that point where they really feel loved and they have that raincoat on and they you know, it's such a
I want to get people there. I hope that the message can reach more people so they can know, you know, exactly how amazing they are.
Such a positive, again, I love it. I love your whole message and everything. And that's why I'm so glad we were able to connect. And also, if anyone's listening, her candles smell amazing. Is there like a coffee one? I think I forgot the name of it, but it has beans in it.
Accept It.
That's my favorite one. That was so good. Yes, I love that one. So people want to hear more about you or your candles. Where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram at kia.nicole1980 or on my Etsy shop, which is etsy.com/shop/Masterpiece Candle Co.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and check them out. They smell amazing. I'm about to place another order too because they're almost out of the coffee one. So, and they're all, the great thing is they're all different names and they're all positive, uplifting labels, I guess, literally labels.
Yes.
But, definitely check her out and check out her Etsy shop. And thank you again so much for speaking with me today. And I know a lot of people are going to love this message. I know it was really meaningful and hit home for me. So I appreciate you're being open and honest and talking with me today.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.